Did you get to do that long rope swing and that thing we saw?
Yes,
I love to swing on a rope. If there were a rope in here now, I would swing on it. I love
Mr. Rope?
There's no I wish there were, but
How about on one of the booms?
I don't think that would be safe. But I did swing on a very long rope one time in a gym, and it was one of the most exhilarating feelings. I love rope swinging. If I had a rope here, I'd probably do nothing but swing on it throughout the entire show. I can swing till the cows come home. If that quote were taken out of context, where were we, Mr. Kaye? You're giving me that strange stare.
You would swing on a rope all day?
I love to swing on a rope, yeah. Just love it. And when I saw
Are you a monkey?
No, I have no simian blood, but I do love to swing on a rope. Hey, and you know the other thing, the other influence you've had in my life, aside from making me a terrific swinger as a kid on ropes, was the fencing scene from the Court Jester.
Yeah.
And you and Basil Rathbone fenced, and my little friends and I, of course we were tiny at the time,
yes.
Went and we got fishing poles and took them apart and made, it's a wonder we didn't put our eyes out. However, we made masks with screen wire and catchers.
And that put your eyes out?
No, but we did fence with them. It was fun.
I had never held a sword in my hand in my whole life. Yeah. And when we decided to do this film, they said, well, let's get a fencing instructor and find out, you know, teach you how to fence. Well, for about a week, I never had a sword in my hand, but they had a wall and a 2x4, and I would practice lunging. You see,
a 2x4?
Yeah. There was the wall. Here was a wall, and they put a 2x4, and you had to stay in it. Now, if you lunged and bent your back, you'd be thrown off balance. So you had to learn to lunge with a straight back. And for a week, I never had a sword in my hand. And then finally he came in one day, and we had a foil. And we were practicing routines with the foil, and we were doing that for about a week or more. And one day he came in, and he put a sword in my hand, and I knew instantly it was my weapon. It was a saber. And the saber...
You hit very hard with it. You do
No, yeah. The saber has the same kind of technique as the foil, except you can slash with it as well.
Yeah.
See, with the foil, it's all basically in the wrist and thrust and parry, see? With a saber, you thrust the same way, but there's also cutting. Yeah. And now, Basil Rathbone was a marvelous swordsman.
He was supposed to be one of the two best.
Really a marvelous swordsman.
Yeah.
Ralph Faulkner was the fellow I worked with, and we got this routine down to such a speed that Basil said, well, maybe you ought to have somebody do that. And they brought in a fencing double. And the fencing double couldn't do it at the speed that the teacher was doing it at. So the teacher finally had to dress in Rathbone's clothes, and we did it. I did it with him.
So in the actual thing, that's not Rathbone, even though he's a
no. Rathbone is in all the shots where we have a double shot. Yeah. There is one shot actually where he is stumbling over, and that you need a double for that anyway. Yeah. So it's kind of interesting to see. Now, in this part of the film that I think you're going to see, I was under a hypnotic spell. And when they snapped, I would become the greatest swordsman in the world. Yeah. And when somebody snapped again, I didn't know anything about fencing at all. So from one snap to another, I would become either the most marvelous swordsman you'd ever seen, or I didn't know anything about it at all.
Klutz
and that's what the klutz of the
saber.
Of the saber.
Saber klutz. Yes.
Saber klutz.
My very thought. Can we take a... Is the mic on during that? No.
What was strange in that scene is when we got into the courtyard, Rathbone had no notion of what I was going to do.
So when you lunged at him like that, he really ducked.
I didn't have any notion of what I was going to do either. Yeah. We had a marvelous time. I scared the devil out of him.
He really looked surprised. He was really a serious swordsman. I mean, he took fencing very seriously.
Yes, he was.
We have to take a station break. We'll be right back after that. Do you mind? You know, ever since I can remember, I've been reading about you and UNICEF. Well, not ever since I can remember, but it's been, what, more than 15 years?
18.
18 years?